Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply. In this video is to bring you a closer look at the Dorex number 9511 hinge reinforcing plate. The ones that I've seen always have the stamping on it, but not necessarily all of them. However, they're easily distinguishable from each other because they differ in the offset, the dimension from the face of the plate here to where the hinge would reside. Okay, we're going to get to that. There's a link below this video to a document called Product Brochure or Cut Sheet, whatever it's called, that you can look at with me all of the dimensional properties of the item. Overall length is 7 and 5/16, and you're going to notice the 9510, the 9511, and 9512. They're only different by the offset. That 9515 is an unrelated part to these. It's actually a hinge filler. So, 7 and 15/16 overall length. The width of the plate, the B dimension, 1 and 3/16. Dimensions C and D and E, F, G. That all of those dimensions, well, other than E, these are just typical template pattern locations for hinge screws that you would see on a 4.5 inch tall hinge. Template. If your hinge locations are to the template pattern, then this will work an industry standard location for those holes. What they're not giving us, though, is the location for the mounting holes, so let's judge what those are. From the top of the plate to that first hole, looks like it's a bit heavy on 3/8, but not quite 7/16. So, I'm tempted to say that's going to be 3/8, maybe 13/32, something in that range would be my guess. Okay. The next hole down, it looks like it's going to be right at about 1 and 3/16. 15/16, apparently. And then about 5/16, maybe 1/4 inch, right in that range. Okay. Now the offset. On the 9511, the offset is 1/16 of an inch, and that's the dimension from the face of the plate to the back of the plate here. Now I'll use my caliper to try to gauge that, and I won't be able to get very exact with it because I'll tip my caliper unintentionally. Plus, this is not the true recessed area here. It's actually over here. So my caliper is not giving me a full 0.06 dimension. But it approaches that. The point is that this plate, from this face to this face, is 1/16 of an inch, 0.0625. Okay. That's important because you're going to take that dimension, then you're going to add the wall thickness of the frame that you're using to get to whether or not your hinge is going to be flush. So if you've got an offset of 0.0625, and let's say you have a 16 gauge frame, which is also coincidentally 0.0625, you're going to be at, 125 thousandths? Indeed, 0.125. And if you've got a 0.134 hinge, a standard weight hinge, you're going to be within a 90th of an inch. And when you attach this plate to the back side of the frame, and if you were to, in that hollow metal example, weld it to the back, you're not going to be perfectly flat. You're going to lose that 10 thousandths of an inch just by applying it to the frame. But what we would do to make sure that it works correctly is we would, if it's a steel application, we would attach our hinge leaf or a hinge leaf, insert this through the back of the frame, and then test it for flush, and then make any adjustments. And when I mean make adjustments. Either pad it off or modify that offset so that it's perfectly flush. Then get in there and weld the daylights out of it. If you're going to do an installation with 1224 screws, and by the way, that's what these threads are. 1224 is not only for the hinge, but thankfully, it's also for the hinge plate itself. So you're going to simply just need additional 1224 hinge screws for putting this on. you're going to want to use that same logic and do your calculations. My experience tells me that the thickness of an aluminum storefront frame is certainly going to be thicker than 0.0625. So this plate may not be adequate. The point of the matter is you understand the offset. We've talked about the calculation by which we would determine if it's going to be flush, and then you'll just simply proceed accordingly with determining how you'll ultimately install this. This is one of 3 plates that they have, and again, they're only different by offsets. 3/32, 1/16, and then the 9512 is completely flat with no offset whatsoever. Very handy to have some of these on your truck if you're a locksmith, because what I've, people call me up and say, yep, I got to the job site and I opened the door and I heard a clank. That's when the the installation's been neglected so long that the plate literally just fell down the channel of the frame. And I've had people try to fish it out. People have been able to do so, and other people say, just send me a plate to replace the material that's there. Locksmiths are going to have this material. People who do manufacturing, small distributors, medium-sized distributors, people who are doing welding and or aluminum frame assembly prior to shipping something to a job site. This is made of steel with a zinc coating. Okay, weighs about 4/10 of a pound, and the material thickness is the I dimension, and the I dimension is 5/32 of an inch. My caliper is telling me it's 0.064, pardon me, 0.164, 0.164. 5/32 of an inch is 0.125. So this is coming up substantially thicker than what they're saying. That's probably because the ends aren't exactly flat in the shearing process of creating these blanks. They probably shear these, and then we'll put them into a die tool, and then we'll have a fixture come down all at once and with 8 drills and then 8 taps and just tap all of it at once is probably how that's done. So be mindful. That's the actual piece. Now finally, there is a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Dorex products that we sell, but all of the links to their website as well as their full product catalog. The name Dorex is synonymous with many things, especially north of the border in Canada, building hardware related, whether it be ancillary parts like this or locks for residential applications and closers for commercial applications, let's say. Very diverse product line. Any questions on the Dorex 9511 hinge reinforcing plate or any other Dorex product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.